now going to touch the pad. Everybody in the world fused. Yeah. Holy moly. Prototype beam 1 is in place. Look at that. Dum 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 dum. And it even follows exactly the right angle. Very happy down at the Andy Mechanic workshop today. Lots and lots of work going on. Got the final foot in place. Just needs taking off. Painting, bit of welding to finish, few cuts still to do. Job as a carrot. Oh, I've got a monobrow, look at that. Oh, that's not bloody good, is it? Well, we've missed an entire day. Well, you have, I haven't, I've been working my ass off, but it's now the evening of day 7. Been beaving away really hard, got lots done. I think really it's about time that I filled you in on what I've been up to. Okay, where do we start? Well, let's start behind me. So, beam 1, well actually it's beam 2 because it's the second one along on the garage. This is the main section that goes on the lean-to. And it's all been cleaned up now, it's finished. And if I take you across, I'm going to carry the tripod because I'm not very good like this. It's now got the additional flanges fitted for the longitudinal beams. Yeah, it's all looking pretty good. And that was going to get painted today, but I ran out of time. And there's still a little tiny bit of cleaning up still to do. There's the odd bit of welding splatter. I just don't like that. It's got to go. Okay, we'll head over to the side now. And we'll take Torchy with us. Torchy is very useful. Even despite all the lights, it's still not brilliantly light. Right, okay, let's go over here first. What have we been doing? Well, get Mr. Tripod set up. Okay, it's a real mess at the moment. My workshop, oh Christ, my workshop will be better one day. Okay, so I designed the right-hand garage support posts, and we're going to use I think it's 100 by 75 unequal angle down here. It's about 8mm thick. It's pretty hefty stuff. 400mm long. That sits on top of the concrete wall on that side, and then there's 75 by 75, and I think it's about 6mm wall box section. Pretty hefty stuff, which basically runs at 90 degrees up from there. And then there's a couple of very large gusset plates. This is 8mm thick gusset, 150 by 150s, all welded into place, and this is bolted down onto the concrete wall. Further up is a slot in the box section, exactly the same way as on the cylindrical posts that are already in place. So sort of slot that out, slide in the foot mount, line it all up, weld it up, job done. And as if by magic, here's one I prepared earlier. So I actually made this yesterday, and it fits perfectly, obviously. And you can see there, look, the foot mounts in place. And I've actually had everything mounted up. One last thing to go in the morning is a nice end cap. We don't want crap going down there, especially any moisture that gets in, because that eventually would cause this bit to rust. We don't want that. Oh no, I thought to clean it up, it's not. It's all cleaned up. Perfect. Right, back to the bench. So what else have I been up to? Well, all the steel work has now been cut, ready for the second beam, which is actually beam number 1, which is going to go right at this far end of the workshop. And the plan is to get all that welded up tomorrow. Now, I've had the whole beam 2 in place with its foot all bolted up as a test fit. It's a bit of a nightmare because it's bloody heavy, but I'm getting into the swing of things now of actually how to manhandle these bloody great big beams. So that's going to get painted tomorrow, and then it's going to have a day to cure. Tomorrow's Friday, so paint it in the morning, then hopefully on Saturday lunchtime-ish I can actually install that beam into the workshop permanent. It'll be the last time that it comes out. Plus it'll be great because it gets it out of the way. And you'll start to see it on the camera, even better. So I want to get beam 1 all welded up, test mounted, and then I can weld the last foot into place on its post on the right hand side, the post that you've just seen. I've got to make another one of those, and like I say, all the bits are cut for that. The other half of beam 1, which is the one that's going to get painted tomorrow, is down on the ground over there, all cleaned up. I'll quickly show you that. So there you go, you've already seen this one being made up. This is the one we used in the original testing. It's all been cleaned up because it was pretty rusty actually. I don't know where it had been stored, but so it's all clean now, ready for painting tomorrow. We've got some pretty cool paint to go on. It's like a primer and then top coats and some kind of industrial kind of paint. But hopefully it'll do the trick. Right, one more thing to show you. Right, you're balancing on a stool right now, so hopefully I won't drop you. So we've got over here the box section and the angle to make another post, the box section post, and then down here we've got the feet, which are obviously already angled, the two large 16mm plates that join the two I-beams together. We've got the support plates for where I have to cut the slots and put the angle in the I-beam. It needs these welding on. You've seen it on that other one done already. And then we've got here the two pairs of feet plates. So one of these gets welded onto there, that gets welded on the I-beam, and then the larger one gets welded into either the box section or the round tube, depending on which post it's going to go onto. And of course we've got some more. Oh, you're off camera now. We've got some more gussets as well. They're all the same, 150 by 150 by actually 7.5mm plate it measured as. I asked for 8, but anyway, not to worry. I'm pretty sure it'll be alright. Yes, and I had to widen the hole for where the I-beam, beam 2 comes through. So we've got a prop in there holding up that joist. And yeah, it's all looking pretty good. But obviously that beam now is wider because it's got the two mounts for these longitudinal beams that are going to be mounted to replace all of that timber. Very excited. Can't wait for tomorrow. Okay, well, I felt it was only fair for those that are interested to give you a bit of an update on how things are going. Are we on schedule? I don't think so. It's going to be really tight. It really, really is. But hey, all good projects are tight right until the end, aren't they? But it's going to be slightly longer days. I started this morning at just gone 7 o'clock and it's about 7 p.m. now. And I've still got to pack up. It takes about an hour to get everything packed up and get the garage filled up with all the motorcycles and quad bikes and bits and pieces. So I'm going to crack on, or I'm going to get told off because my tea will be getting cold. And I'll see you in the morning. And tomorrow I will promise I will do more filming. Honest. Morning crew, I'm back. It's the start of day 8 of 10 days doing the workshop project, getting this steelwork put up. And don't forget, this is only 2 of the 4 beams that are going to go in. So I'm going to be able to revisit this in a month, 6 weeks time, get the 2 beams made. Now, I was lying in bed this morning, as I do sometimes, woke up about 5:30, and I was thinking, look, when I first put the beam number 2, which is the one that's complete, and you've seen it all ground back and ready for spraying this morning, I was thinking, when I first installed that, I was able to hold the beam wherever I wanted, put chains around it, even though it wasn't the easiest thing to put into place, I could, grab hold of it in any position possible. Once it's painted, I really don't want to do that because that paint, yes, it's going to be cured, but it's not going to be fully hard, and it's quite a bright colour, so it's probably going to mark. And before I paint the beams, this is my last opportunity to add any additional mounts or fittings or whatever I want to, before it's all painted up, because once it's painted you don't want to be grinding the paint off to weld stuff on. So I've decided what I'm going to do is put a couple of little mounts under each beam, so there's 2 beams left and right, one at each end, so that I can attach a pole with a bolt through on a bracket or whatever, and maybe put it on the bottle jack or the trolley jack and be able to jack the beam up into place. Rather than actually having to put something physically onto the beam, it's just going to be a single bolt. So, hopefully preserve the paint. That's the plan. So, I've got to design that. What else have we got to do? Well, I've got a to-do list. Here we look. Here we are. So let's do my little to-do list for day 8. And of course, time for a coffee. And the most important thing for the day is we've got new biscuits. Brilliant. Okay, to-do list. Let's work our way through that one. Okay, working around the camera. 1, fit undermounts. I always try and come up with these weird names for stuff. 2, we've got to fit the caps to the tops of the box section posts. 3, what else have we got to do? Well, we've got to paint beam number 2. We've got to fabricate beam number 1, and everything's cut for that except those new undermounts. And we're going to need actually going to need 9 of those. I need a template as well, so I need to make 9 of those, whatever they're going to be, no idea yet. Top caps, well, we need to make 4 of those because there'll be 2 more needed next time round, so it's easy just to make them all at once. And that's probably about it. Oh, 5, drink lots of coffee. Okay, right, let's go and do number 1. Now, these undermounts, they want to be something pretty substantial, so I found a bit of this flat bar, flat plate, call it what you like, and I think it's 75mm across. It's already in use for some other stuff on the project, but this is a bit that we've got left over, so we can use this. It's 75 by 100. Okay. And you can see I've already cut one end. I hate the guillotine ends, they're a real pain. I always trim them back because they are slightly distorted. That's just me. Okay, so I think if we just do 75 squares, we can get 2 of these undermounts, and we'll just round the ends so it looks a bit tidier from underneath. And I don't think you'll crack your head on them because, you know, one's going to be pretty much, you know, close to the wall of the garage. And the other one is going to be sort of maximum height in the middle, so, or near to the middle, so it shouldn't be too bad. So we're going to need lots of light because I can't see shit this morning. Okay, so 75. There we go. It was the first scribble. That one there, look. Okay, now I only need to mark 1 because then I can use that as a template and just lay it across and then scribe again and scribe again. I found that a lot easier. Now, we've got a 75 by 75 square. Sorry camera, trying to keep you in shot. Yep, it sure is 75. So we can just go directly across from there to there now. Now, before I cut this out, I actually wanted to put the holes through it because it's a lot easier to hold a bar like this on the pillar drill than it is to try and hold a little tiny triangle. And I want to put in there maybe even a 12mm hole. So I think if we go 20 in both sides, and then we'll have the hole about there. Looks about right, doesn't it? So just do 20. There we go. And 20 again. Now, when you're marking out, just for future reference, it's always good to just stick to 2 faces. So if we use that face, hang on, wrong way around, upside down, that face and that face, then you'll always measure from one side. Very important, otherwise you can add errors, because sometimes plates aren't exactly cut to the right size. If you always work from one side, it'll work. Okay, so we've got that one. And now, working around the tripod, we need another one, don't we? So we can stick that across there. There we go. And that's going to be one of our centre punch marks. We'll do exactly the same one. I could always drill that one and then use that as a template for this, but I'd rather drill these two at least while it's part of the bar. So 75mm bar, which means 20 in is 55. There we go, that's that one. And we're using that as a date. Oh, we used that as a datum, didn't we? What a numpty. Okay, well, we'll cross that out. And we'll use that as a datum. There we go. It's too early in the morning, people. It really is. Okay, so again, we need to go 55. We'll do it somewhere near. Somewhere near the other mark, just to make life a bit easier for us. There we go, 55. And we can always get the square. We can square that across. Yeah, we're not too far away, so I don't mind just looking to keep the ruler parallel to the side of the bar. It's only approximate, it's only a hole for. Right, so we've got 1, 2, we need a centre punch. And a different bench, because this bench bounces. It's no good for doing centre punch marks. This little Makita light follows me everywhere now, it's fantastic. I can actually see what I'm doing. Well, most of the time. Okay, so we'll have one, wait for the earthquake. And then we'll have another one just there, look. Super job. Right, we'll drill those first, and then we'll cut it out. Right, that's the 12 we're going to finish off with. That was left in there from yesterday. So we'll keep all of that. Start off with a 6. It's going to be swathed everywhere again. This is a really good pillar drill, but the chuck's not the world's greatest. I'm going to get a Jacobs chuck for this from England, I think, at some point. But the whole pillar drill, $400. Absolute bargain. Right, hopefully you won't get too much vibration. Ah, need power. Holy crap. Now when I'm drilling these holes in this large plate, I find it's a little dab of WD-40, not a sponsor. Makes a big difference when you're breaking through the other side, it doesn't snag as much. And the drill bit's cut so much easier, and they seem to maintain a sharp edge for longer as well. Right, that's one. Now it's important that you get rid of all the sward, because otherwise you're not going to get a cut that's 90 degrees through the plate. Okay, number 2. Okay, we'll just drop a little bit of WD-40 in there. Next one will go up to a 10. Give that swath. Man, I've drilled so many holes already for this project. I'm nowhere near the end yet. I can't believe it's day 8 already. It's going well. There we go. chuck. Okay, nice one. Then we'll go up to a 12 and then we're all done. Fantastic. Almost there. So I've not really shown you much drilling, so obviously we're going to get the experts in the comments telling us we should be using cutting oil and the speed of the drill bit's wrong and all that kind of stuff, but hey, I've drilled plenty of holes in my time and I don't fail. And I need a new chuck, this is no good. Having the right chuck key, it didn't come with a chuck key, so I had to try and find one that sort of worked. Okay. 12 mil, here we go. Brilliant. Right. We're cooking on gas. We're doing alright. Next job, cut these out. Now, when I'm cutting these out with the angle grinder, first of all, I want them to both be the same. So this line that I've put on here is right from the corner to the corner. So when I'm cutting, I'm going to be putting the disc actually bang on the line for that particular cut. For this cut, it's different because this line here is exactly on the 75 mil. If I cut on the line, this will end up being short. So I'll be cutting on this side of the line, the far side. So it's important that when you're marking these things out, you take into account and make a mental note of where you're going to be cutting on those lines. Otherwise, you've got to put your lines on to compensate for your cut. So I'd have moved that maybe a millimetre this way. But then it's a bit hit and miss. I'd much rather just cut up to the edge of that line. Then I know that I'm bang on. Also, when I'm grinding and cutting, don't wear safety glasses. Wear a full face mask. So many times have I got sparks in my eyes round the sides of the safety glasses. These are great for maybe when you're drilling and stuff, but when you're actually grinding with one of these slit discs or a grinding disc, then you really need a full face mask. So we need one of those and some ear defenders. You'll thank me when you're a bit older. Always check for spiders. I found 2 wasps in one in a pair yesterday. Jeez. I also find if you use a couple of pieces of wood to mount the steel on before you cut, it just cuts down a bit on the vibration. So the first cut's going to be down that diagonal. It's a lot easier to cut that one now while it's still part of the main bar. Perfect. So they're a bit hot now, so be careful. But the next job is we're just going to trim off just maybe 3 or 4 mil in there, which make it easier when we're grinding that round, because this is going to hang down. Where's my mill grips? Oh, she's quite warm. Okay, there. That's going to, the beam will be here above this, and this is going to hang down. So we don't want a sharp edge hanging down, because, you know, if you are going to bang your head on it, far better to bang your head on something that's round than pointy. That's what I say. Okay, so we'll stick it in the vise, and we're just going to trim off a few mil off the top of one of those. Off that peak. Easy. Okay, luckily. Right, we'll stick one of those in there. It's not quite so hot now. And I can just do this by sight. I'm just going to trim off from the peak coming down maybe about 4 mil, and then I'll just round the rest off with a grinder. Right, one grinding disc, that's what we need. Looking forward to my breakfast this morning. I have a sneaky suspicion there's going to be some bacon in it. Perfect stuff. Now once we've got the rough shape, we'll use a flat disc just to finish it off. Now it's hot. So, that's what we've got so far. Looking pretty good, isn't it? So, next job is just to tidy up these sharp edges around here, look. Again, we can use a flat disc for that. Now, lastly, this is going to be welded into place, so we need to put a chamfer along this edge here, because this will be welded. So we want, about looking down there, about a 45-degree chamfer on both sides. Not quite making a point in the middle, maybe a couple of mil remaining in the middle. So we'll chuck it back in the vise to do that, I think. Be a lot easier. Oh, almost there. Bloody good. So there you have it. It's probably a bit too warm to pick up. Yeah, it really is pretty too warm. Okay, so there you go, look. I've just got 8 more of these to make. Fantastic. Now there's one more thing I'm going to do. This was a 12mm hole that we drilled. I'm just going to put like a 14 or a 15 or maybe even a 17, whatever, kicking around, just to take off the burring and maybe give it a slight countersink by maybe a millimetre, maybe half a mil, just take that edge off. Makes it easy to feed bolts through and stuff later on. And again, it's something that you can't do once it's painted, really. Right, well, back to the other bench. God, I'm knackered. I just had to lift my snap-on toolbox off the bench. It's all the way over there. It weighs so much. Every year it seems to weigh more and more. Anyway, so we've sort of done number 1 together. Showing you how to make one of those little mounts. I've got lots more to make, so I'll crack on, we'll get all those made. Then I'll get them welded in position. And then I can make the caps for those bits of box section. I can start on beam number 1, the one that goes on this end of the garage. Okay, crew, I'm going to crack on. I'll see you a bit later on. Have fun. Jeez, we've been painting. Yes, I enrolled Mrs. Mechanic to do the dangerous stuff. So yeah, we've got a spray gun, and that's the thinners. What a shit tin to paint to pour from. It just goes everywhere. Anyway, been a long day. I've been busy working on the second beam, which is beam number 1, because it's going to go at this end of the garage. And beam number 2, the first one that we made, the one that we actually tested for deflection, that is now in primer, and it takes about an hour to 2 hours to dry, and then I can make a start on the top coat. On the top coat, we're going to get the paint. Hang on. It's going to take me hours to clean this workshop up when I've finished. But there you go, look. It's a special mix. I won't tell you the colour. Does it tell you the colour on there? Oh, damn, it does. If you look carefully. There you go. Okay, so it needs to have a dusting coat of the top coat, and then the final coating. I'm not a paint guy, so hopefully it'll turn out okay. I don't know. What else? I've made all the bits. I haven't actually, well, actually I have started welding up the second beam, beam number 1. The main flange, the 2 plates that join the 2 beams together, are now welded to the beams. Everything's marked up, but of course I can't grind or weld with this kind of stuff going on because well, it's pretty damn explosive, isn't it? So it's a painting duties tonight, up early in the morning, get these beams out of the workshop, put them on the trailer, let them dry off outside, and long day's welding tomorrow. I am behind schedule. Things are not looking good. Okay, crew, that's about it really. See you later on. I'm back. You want to look at the beams, don't you? Okay. My workshop is not normally this messy, believe me. God. Okay. This is just the primer, all right? Try not to trip over. And that's the beam that goes, the other support beam that goes and holds up the right hand side of the garage. Look at that. Now, one may ask what these are for. Well, you're going to find out just a bit later on. So I think it actually turned out pretty well. And it's only the primer. So I'm really looking forward to the final cut. Yes, there's a couple of runs in it. Doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't rust, that's the important thing. What do you think, Lily? Any good? Yeah, I reckon it'll do the trick, don't you? It's pretty good for a garage like this. Even the feet turned out pretty well. Happy with that. Okay, let's take a look on the other side of the garage. See what's going on over there. So I've been making myself notes as I keep going because I keep forgetting the measurements. Useless, really. Okay, so we've got, this is the second beam, which is beam number 1, but not. The end plates are all in position, tacked in or semi-welded in. Had to stop. And the other one's done as well. There, look. And going back in here again because everything's all over the place. Holding the lid on the paint tin because it's bent and it won't shut properly are all the plates that I need for that second beam. So I've got to make some kind of a clamp to keep that paint tin shut now without making any sparks. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Okay, back to the grind done. Now obviously I can't film spraying, A, because I am terrible at spraying and I don't want to put that out to the world, and secondly the paint will get on the camera and that will destroy my phone because all my filming is done by my S6, believe it or not. So I'm going to crack on and maybe before I sign off tonight and go for a long hot shower, I'll do you one final bit of day 8 of the 10-day saga of putting up the steelwork in the Andy Mechanic workshop. See you later, crew. How do I look? Pretty cool? Oh, well, everything is yellow. Came out okay, but there's a few runs. I'm not very good at this painting like, but hey, I'm sure I'll get better because I've got to go through this whole ordeal 3 more times. It's pretty hideous, and it's not doing the workshop any good actually because everything has just got like haze of yellow. And the chemicals, I'm surprised the neighbours haven't complained, to be honest. Anyway, I'll whiz you down and you have a quick look at these finished beams. They've got to take 24 hours now to cure before I can move them, so I'll be welding tomorrow. Let's take a quick look. Now, everything looks better on camera, believe me. There's a lot of runs. But you know, at a distance, I think it looks all right. I think we've done a pretty good job. Me and Mrs. Mechanic. She took Marmite for a walk, so that's why she wasn't spraying the final coat. She did a great job with the primer. Very, very impressed. And that's the mount that goes on the right-hand side to hold the beam. It's pretty heavy actually. Yeah, there's a massive run. That was my fault. Just getting the hang of this painting like and using thinners and, you know. But for the first effort, I think it's pretty good. It'll do. And it certainly won't rust. That's the important thing. So yeah, any ideas yet what these are for? One day you'll find out. Because there's 2 on each beam. And they're in strategic positions. They really are. Okay, well, I don't know, I could look at this all night because it's great. I'm really chuffed with them. And I'm very happy with the way that those plates turned out. Oh, fuck. In there, look. They look pretty tidy now. And the welding, that looks alright. What do you reckon? Oh, another run. You happy with that? Is that a pass? Should be. What about the one down here? Is that a pass? And up there, look. I reckon that'll work. Forget the paint. Paint's not strength. Okay, back to the bench. Even my phone's got yellow paint on it now. God damn. Okay, got to pack up. Going to edit this video up tonight, so you've got an update. This video covers, I think, 3 days. I don't know, 2-3 days. We missed a day, whatever. It's all good. The point is, things are moving on really well, and it's the end of day 8 now, which means we've got 2 days left. It's all starting to, you know, pressure's on. So tomorrow, now that these are painted, they've got to cure till Sunday morning. Can't touch them. They've got to, you know, I can put them outside on the trailer, but other than that, stay well away. Hopefully the flies won't get stuck to the paint by the morning. So tomorrow is full-on welding, getting the other beam done, so I can test fit it. And I've got to cut some more timber out. I've got to move some wiring, actually, looking up there. Cut some timber out, test fit the beam, weld in the last foot, because I never quite know how long it's going to be until it's in place, because these sheds are, well, you know, they're not great. Pull it down, finish the welding, do the cleanup, and then paint it on Sunday afternoon, probably, and then stop, because I'm back at work Monday morning, and then I'm going to take the Friday off, Saturday, Sunday, so I've got 3 days next weekend working on it as well, and that'll be it, finished, definitely out of the way. We can get this part of this concrete wall out, some of the timber framing out, shuffle the benches around, and then doing the other 2 beams will be so much easier. It won't. Okay, crew, I need to go have a long shower, try and get some of this state of that looks, paint and welding grime all mixed together. And all my hairs, look at that. All my hairs are yellow now. I don't know what's going on. That could take ages to get rid of. Damn. Okay, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, why not click on the subscribe button. You'll see a little gear icon turn up. Click on the gear icon. And then you can tick the box and turn on notifications. And our friends at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. You'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals, crew. I think it's the thinners going to my head. And there's also an email address. You can email me if you like, which is andymechanic@live.co.uk. That's right, .co.uk. And there's also a Patreon page. There's a link on the homepage of Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Click on there. I'll put you a link in the comments as well. You can go and visit the Patreon page. There's more information about the channel, about the background of the channel, how it came to be, up and coming projects, and this is one of them. And I've been doing a few posts on there as well about what's been going on, you know, in real time almost, as with Instagram as well. And if you decide to become a patron to the Andy Mechanic channel, you can do it through the Patreon portal. It'd be very much appreciated, should I say. Any donations that come through are, you know, greatly received, and the money is put to very good use. But please don't send through what you can't afford. It's very important. And I fully appreciate people's circumstances change. You may be a patron for a couple of months and then have to stop you know, donating, and that's just the way life is. But anything you send through, really, really cool. Thank you. Okay, crew, until next time, cheers, over and out. And we get the flip up again.
Oh!
Really.